Not a lot of people want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Your brand is costing you clients. I'm not talking about the way you price your offer, and I'm not even talking about your unique offer. And I'm not talking about the way that you continue to show up on sales calls, but I give you respect for doing that. I'm going to talk about your brand. And the craziest part is that most founders I talk to, they already know this. They know that something feels off with their brand, but they're not really willing to look at it. Their content doesn't feel like it's converting the way that it should, and the right people aren't really reaching out to them. Sales feels super heavy, and these conversations feel more forced than flow. That is creating a lot of friction for them within their business, but they just don't know how to name it. Today, I'm going to name it for you. There's 3 mistakes. They're repelling your dream clients, and they're keeping your brand working against you as a bottleneck instead of working for you as an amplifier. I've architected and positioned over 100 founder-led brands. I work with 8-figure operators and enterprise companies. I specialize in what I like to call magnetic brand architecture. What that is I help established operators and high vision builders bring their identity, their vision, and their brand combined up to the level of their authority so that it's felt instantly and allows them to be consistently magnetic. This is before anyone ever gets on a call. This is before anyone ever reads your bio or sees your About You carousels. It's before you even really say a single word. Now that's what a magnetic brand does. And right now, most brands, they're just not doing this because they don't really know how to do it and how to position themselves correctly. Everything I'm about to share with you, it's gonna start with one thing. And that's actually knowing exactly who you are and what you're building and why you're building it. If that foundation isn't clear, none of this is gonna work. So DM me 55 on Instagram and I'll help you rediscover your true identity and vision, because that's where it all starts. Before we get into the most common missteps and mistakes that founders and entrepreneurs make, I want to get something out there clearly. So most brands that aren't working, it's not because they're broken because they have some bad design or a bad content plan. They're broken or they're not working because they were built without a real identity as a foundation. They never figured out what their vision was for the business and where they wanted to take this. They never defined their actual brand voice and how they were going to speak about themselves. And they never did anything beyond just the visuals. So they just had visuals layered on top of confusion. And when that foundation is off and feeling confused, every mistake along the way, it gets magnified. So keep that in mind as we go through these. Mistake number 1 is the biggest one I see right now, and that's outsourcing your personal brand to AI. Everybody is doing this, and it's making a bunch of AI slop version brands that look all the same. If you open LinkedIn and you scroll, or open Instagram and you scroll for a few minutes, you're gonna see the same hooks, similar formats, really similar cadence. You can literally hear the ChatGPT in all of it. And the moment somebody like your dream client starts to sense this and notice it, all trust gets dropped off the table. The reason is because it just doesn't feel authentically like that individual. And a brand that doesn't feel like you, it's not an actual brand. It's really just a templated thing that was created by AI. See, the founders I work with, we're using AI as a multiplier, never as the source. Because at the end of the day, you are the source. Your life experiences, your unique frameworks, your failures, your specific way of seeing the world, that's the source of your brand. See, AI is gonna help you refine it, tweak it, shape it in a way, and then scale it. But the second that you hand AI the mic and let it be the singer, man, you've handed over the one thing your brand actually needs to work. That's yourself. That's your true identity. Okay, mistake number 2 is building your brand around a curated aesthetic or flashy lifestyle. Bro, this worked for a long time. I mean, you had the Lambo bros, you had the private jet bros, you had the luxury hotel lobby guy wearing the nice shirt and the cool shoes. It built synthetic, fake credibility fast. But we're seeing a shift now, back to authenticity. We've seen too many of those influencers get exposed for being fake. And we watched all these successful lifestyles that we looked up to get completely tore down. The thing is, AI can basically fabricate anything. Let's get that out of the way. Any image, any environment, any life, someone can place themselves, on the beach in Thailand when they're sitting at their house in Arkansas. So the flashy aesthetic isn't just losing power, it's actually going to destroy the trust that your dream clients have with you. What is going to replace that now? Realness, authenticity. The founders that are winning and steps ahead of the rest of them, they're showing the in-between moments, the real life. They're showing the delayed flight. They're showing the hard conversations with a hard client. They're showing some of the things that didn't work and what they actually learned from it, how they alchemize those experiences. But you want to let your presence, your authenticity, and your humanity be the relatable aspect. AI can do all the flashy, remarkable stuff right now. Humans, on the other hand, we need to own the relatability factor. That's the shift. Mistake number 3, optimizing for virality first instead of building trust. This is the one I've seen so many founders lose out on real scalability because they start to go viral first without actually figuring out how they were going to build trust and connect with their dream clients. They get these 100,000s of view moments, but then they can't actually convert those views into anything because virality and trust are two opposite sides of the coin. Virality gets you reach, exposure, attention, but trust is what's going to get you your dream clients. So when you optimize for virality first, you're thinking in the mindset of what's the largest possible audience that I can reach and how can I build content around that? When instead you want to switch your mindset and shift yourself to a place where the founders that are winning, when they think about content strategy and when they work with me, the first question is, it's never how are we going to get the most views? It's what's the most painful problem that our ideal dream clients are dealing with right now and how can we help them solve that? And then at that point, we figure out how to make a piece of content that is digestible, accessible, and can be watched by as many of our dream potential clients as possible. So that you still get the views and you still build up the attention, but you get them from the right people. Because views from the wrong audience, they're not even traction. They're actually noise and they're distracting you from your circle, from your community. If you're already operating at a high level, but your brand doesn't feel like it quite reflects that level yet, and if content feels like it's friction instead of flow, and if sales conversions are still feeling like you have to over-explain yourself instead of just showing up authentically as you, that's a brand working as a bottleneck instead of an amplifier. DM me 88 on Instagram and I'll show you exactly how we can fix that and see if I can help you take your brand and your authority to the level of where you want it to go. Here's the thing that's going to tie all 3 of these common missteps and mistakes together. They're actually all symptoms of the same root problem. I'll break it down like this. So a brand that was built without real identity underneath it, that's part of the root problem, because AI becomes a tool instead of a crutch if you actually have a solid foundation. That's solid foundation comes from a clear identity. You don't actually need a curated lifestyle to manufacture trust and credibility. And when your brand speaks directly to the right people, you're gonna stop chasing the viral moments because your authentic audience is going to find you making good content that identifies their pain problems and helps them solve them. That's what magnetic brand identity is all about. It makes your brand do the heavy lifting so that you don't have to constantly put energy into explaining yourself anytime you walk into any room. It allows you to become more magnetic, so the moment you walk into the room, anybody who sees you instantly wants to know more about your brand, and what you do to help others. Next video, I'm gonna break down the 10 first steps that you can take to build a magnetic brand identity and why you don't wanna be like other founders who make the mistakes, waste time, and build from a fragile foundation. So subscribe so you don't miss it.